Was it simple? In fact, it wasn't that simple. How could it be so simple to pass messages so quickly throughout the continent? Do not forget, here in the Ark continent, they didn't go through an information age. There were no mobiles phones or internet like back on Earth. However, the Maquis company could do this, proving their strength in the Ark continent. Even an entire empire wouldn't be willing to provoke them. Quietly listening to Green, Zhao found that he had really underestimated this world. Although it wasn't technologically advanced, they have developed in a unique way. His understanding of this world was too shallow. Green smiled. Master, no matter where you go, a black mage will be noticed. Especially when we appeared in Montenegro Fortress from the mountains. Of course, they would pay attention to something like that. Zhao nodded. Then we leave tomorrow? Yes, we will leave tomorrow, Master. To be honest, if you want to stay a few nights here, then I'm afraid that we really can't afford it. Zhao couldn't help but smile. Money was really a problem. What would an outsider think about when they saw them? It should look like they were spending a big windfall, but all they had was a broken territory, along with 100 people to feed, and not to mention the occasional attacks from the spirit beasts. Even though they had a cheat, they were still so poor that they couldn't afford to stay long at a hotel. Green, thinking that Zhao would feel sad about the current situation, hastened to comfort him. Master, when we sell the radishes, we'll make money. You don't need to be sad. Zhao didn't explain to Green why he had smiled. I'm fine. Later, when we leave this hotel, we should find a place outside the city, and then go rest in the space. Green nodded. Yes, but we still need to stay here today to get the Maquis clan's attention. Zhao nodded too as he looked around the suite. It really wasn't a small lodging, with a living room, 5 bedrooms, and a bathroom. It was very comfortable. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Green quickly stood up and opened it. A waiter was outside, and in his hands was a large tray. There was some bread and 3 plates of delicious dishes. Green took the plates, then gave the waiter a tip and sent him away. Little did he know of what happened after he closed the door. The waiter went downstairs and immediately went to a very secluded room, then knocked on the door. The fat boss's voice from inside, "Come in." The waiter pushed open the door and went in. It was a bedroom with very simple furnishings, just a bed with a small table and a chair. The fat boss was sitting in the chair, holding a pen, ready to write. Even though he heard the sound at the door, he didn't look up. What did you find? The waiter stood respectfully. It may be simple to find out their identities. They are likely from noble birth, but life shouldn't be too good for them right now. I just sent them some ordinary food, but they didn't say anything about it. And naturally they gave me a tip, although it wasn't very much. The waiter had deliberately sent some food that wasn't of the best quality, just to try to find out the identity of Zhao. Based on their reactions, he tried to determine Zhao's status. In the continent, only the nobility would tip a waiter. Under normal circumstances, even businessmen wouldn't give waiters a tip, so from that point he judged that Zhao may be of nobility. The aristocratic requirements for food and drink were very high, but Zhao didn't make any demands. Plus, they only tipped a few copper coins. The waiter believed that Zhao didn't live very well. But despite knowing all of this, the fat boss really had no way to determine their identity. Finally, the fat boss wrote everything down, and then he opened up a secret door that led to a secret room behind his bedroom. In the secret room was a row of cages, with each cage holding a bird-like spirit beast. This spirit beast was called a wind falcon. It was a fast-flying spirit beast, and after some training, it was usually used as a messenger. The fat boss first fed the wind falcon some meat, then he carefully rolled up the written information into a small bamboo and attached it to the falcon's claws. Then he sent out the falcon to fly. The Maki clan was so big that they naturally wouldn't care about every little thing of note, but the appearance of this black midge was too sudden, so the fat boss had to message them about it. For people, a black midge represented danger, darkness, and other negative words. As long as there was a black midge somewhere, they would be noted down without trying to offend them. That was why the fat boss was paying attention to Zhao, though he was doing these things earlier than Green expected. But when Zhao posed as a black midge, this effect was what they wanted. With such a high-profile act, naturally, no one would think that they were the Buddha clan, so this will make them more secure. After eating the meal, Zhao and everyone rested. They didn't go wandering around Montenegro Fortress. It must be noted that Zhao was a black midge, and a black midge couldn't just go around shopping, especially since they were trying to avoid trouble. Fortunately, Zhao was an otaku who didn't like to go shopping since it gave him a feeling of discomfort. Plus, he was tired and it felt good to rest in such a nice place. The day passed very calmly, but everyone knew that there was a black midge around. The next morning, they left Montenegro Fortress. Zhao was sitting on a lion, which left those adventurers feeling very envious. From Montenegro, there were 3 roads. The left one led to a grain-producing area of the Psel Duchy. The terrain there was very flat, suitable for growing wheat, with a large number of slaves working there. The road on the right led to a forest, which was the main source of wood for the Psel Duchy. Under normal circumstances, very few people travel on these 2 routes, because there was no business to be made there. However, the middle road led to the Psel Duchy's capital city, known as the Pearl of the North, of the Ikshu Empire. It was called Kassa City. They certainly wouldn't go to some grain or wood-producing area. Since they were going to sell radishes, they would naturally head to Kassa City, which was busy with business. The next few days, they were on their way. It wasn't like their 3-day travel through the Black Waste, where they didn't see a single person. Now that they were in the Psel Duchy, they saw a lot of people as they passed through forests and farmland. But because Zhao's undead looked so mighty, the moment people saw it, they would try to hide. Zhao felt very satisfied. After all, he could finally see some people, so it wasn't a boring journey. Consider this, a huge skeleton with the warrior sitting on its head, and all its body was a black midge, with a sweet beauty sitting next to him. This combination was very strange. Also, whenever they pass by a small town or city, they always find a place outside the city and then go into the space, which made their movements seem uncertain and hard to track. Just another thing that was mysterious about them.